G'day race fans, it's Adrian here and welcome back to Just a Ride. Portions of this broadcast may be redacted to protect the innocent and the guilty. Hey guys, hope we're all well. Have I got a story for you? The old Rectifier regulator, ? So, let me share with you a tale, some context to this whole thing. I'm very fortunate enough to have a mate who owns a wee farm out in the and we colloquially know this as so big storms the last couple of weeks, right, in this part of the world, knocked down a lot of trees and so we were tasked, as a crew of us were tasked for a day to get up there, to get the chainsaws out and to clean some stuff up, to make the land usable, but also just to clean the mess, right, to control the land. So I thought to myself, what a better opportunity. This is like nearly 200 kilometers from my home. So I thought, what better opportunity this is to stretch the legs of the blade. You know, I'm going to shoot up there, I'm going to spend a day there working like a bugger, and I'm coming home. And at this point, I knew, you know, even in the infancy stage of this plan for this weekend, was I knew I was, and I wanted to ride home in the dark. Something I've not done much of. You know, I've ridden bikes good portions of my life, and I'm a morning person anyway, so I'm all about that. You know, meet you at the servo at 6:30 kind of stuff, like nice and early. You know, it's not as hot. There's not many idiots on the road, and I like daytime. Tinted visor, everyone's happy. But my intent was to go to with the clear visor packed in the bag, and I was going to change this out for the ride home, which is what I did. You know, I think it was like 8 o'clock at night. It had been dark for about an hour by the time I throw the leg on the bike and off I shoot. And it wasn't long into this ride, a few things became evident to me. One, so this is the headlight assembly of the 2005 CBR FireBlade. When in standard running, that light is on and that wee little light is on. When you hit the high beams, that light comes on. So, you know, low beams, one light, high beams, two lights. This was like holding a firefly in a jar in a cave. Like, it was dismal. You can see why I don't do much night riding. So of course I'm riding with high beams on, both beams on, lights on, which I know is obviously going to be an extra stress on the battery. And I know there's history with the rectifier regulators of these bikes, and I'll be honest, there's a bit of hesitation in me now, being a blade owner. That's the age that this blade is at, and the insurances that I have, or the confidence that I have in the rectifier regulator and the battery playing games. Hence why I've only just recently put that as an addition on the bike, a little voltage meter. This thing was put in place, only just recently for this very occurrence, right? Like, when the rectifier regulator dies, it ebbs for a little bit, it dies slowly, and then obviously it falls off a cliff. And without that, all you know is off the edge of the cliff. You know, when you're at the servo and you've stopped and you go to turn it back on again and it doesn't go. So this did work. This gave me the inklings at the start of this near 200k ride home in the dark, that things weren't right. The number wasn't as high as it normally was, and I was absolutely focused on, you know, trying to see through the dark, but also what this battery was doing, and it was just slowly ebbing south, which made me very nervous when you it's in the dark, and you're 200 k's from home. And then the fuel light came on, just to add to the pressure. So it was like the fuel light came on, and I clicked up a higher gear just to drop the revs down, and knowing that that's the last thing the bike wanted was lower revs. It wanted higher revs. And I even had a crazy little anomaly within maybe 50, 60 k's of the journey where the bike cut out just for a second, like that much, like the dash went black. That which is red, and in the night that's quite bright, perched underneath the dash where I have it on the bike. It lost everything, but for a moment, and then everything came back onto life, and it was going. Then it started. Then I perceived the ebbing of the voltage on the display at even a greater rate at that point. With my fuel light on, thinking I knew I wasn't getting home with the fuel in the tank, and as soon as I stop, I'm screwed. So it was a case of doing the most fuel efficient run I think I've ever done in my life on that bike. And I got within 80 kilometers of my home and had to stop at a service station. And sure enough, put the key in it. The dash is illuminated. And like, well, okay, this is promising. The voltage at this point was reading 10 point something. Hit the start button, everything dies. Yep, I'm toast here. I'm done, and through the bloody God blessed generosity of a couple of friends who I'm calling it like on a random Saturday night, like 10 to 10. Hey man, what you up to? You want to get the Ford Transit van? Come pick me up. 80 kilometers from where you are right now. And yeah, they obliged. God bless them. But it was quickly evident when I finally got back home that next morning that it was not the Rectifier regulator that I thought it was. It was a loose battery terminal. Because out of country land, like the driveway to get off the road to the front door of the block is 2 kilometers of corrugated dirt road, and a high performance, tightly sprung sports bike. They're not a big fan of the Australian corrugated dirt roads. So I suggest that my problem was started on, the shitty Australian bumpy tarmac roads, but made even worse by the corrugated dirt road where this battery terminal came loose. Hence why I had that momentary lost everything on the ride, and then it came back to life and I was motoring. That was just, it was the negative terminal, so it wasn't charging. Hence why the voltage numbers were ebbing the whole time. It was, diminishing returns. The further I went, the less I was going to go. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But so a few things that I did do when I installed the voltage meter, and I kind of thought, I'm no mug here, and this is not a how-to. This is more of just a diary entry. I had to extend, bought this, it's got bloody 300 mil of lead on it, and I needed this lead to go to the battery. So I went to the electronical supply business, Blacy or whatever you call them, and I bought, and I knew, because I couldn't get that gauge of wire that it came with out the factory, the extension that I put on was a thicker gauge of wire. And surplus much? Yes, Adrian. So I know that there was some resistance anyway in the fact that I've got this thicker gauge of wire and I've got surplus of it. That voltage meter reading wasn't actually what the battery was, because there was some resistance in this, So hence why the bike is completely naked and stripped down right now, is my intent to hardwire this. Oh, that was the thing too. I had still kind of knew I was doing it wrong, but did it anyway. I had just hardwired this straight to the battery. So this was always on 24/7. And yes, I had to apply the trickle charger onto this battery several times because you'd walk past it and go, oh, I think it's bloody blank, it's dark, which means it's sort of like, you know, under 10 volts, and essentially the battery is flat because of this thing and the limited use that I would have of the blade. It's a Sunday best, and it's a not even a second Sunday best anymore, it's a every 20th Sunday best. So yeah, my intent right now is to hardwire this into the bike, so it's turn the key on, that's on, turn the key off, that's off. And through the guidance of this guy and trying to make sense of that, I feel I have found a little side stream of electricity when the bike is on, but not when the bike is off, in my little secondary shitty light up here that does absolutely F all. That is powered by this guy here. Clip, yeah, here we go, I'll even, there you go. So there's the clip. I've taken the 2 wires out of that little clip, which isn't that fun to do? Jesus Christ. So I'm going to pull back, I'm going to attempt, right, to pull back a little bit of that sheath there and connect with the shortest amount of wire that I need to that voltage meter, which is only going to be perched literally inches from this position anyway on the bike, and then earth that somewhere on the bike. That's easy enough to do. But yeah, just a few little errors that I did that I kind of knew I was doing to start with. 1, I was going straight to the battery. 2, I had this excess of lead. And 3, the lead that connected, you know, bits that I had done to the bits that I had bought were not the same gauge. This, in fact, is far, far bigger. So this here is a remedy to that, if it works. If it doesn't work, you never see this. Happy days. Let's get the solderer out and that little guy. That's right, that's right, that's right. Okay, we're ready to go. The hot stick is getting hot. It's ready to go. I'm sure I'll burn myself on that at some stage in the next few minutes. Hopefully I capture that. So here we go. I'm going to hardwire this voltage meter to the little light up here, which has its live and its earth. And I'm just going to go literally the live and the earth from this and just splice them into here so I don't interrupt the connections up into this, which, you know, powers this light. And I have successfully navigated what I do need to navigate in this. Slowly but surely, they're becoming less intimidating, you know. Like, that was one thing I was looking for initially. That little guy, little earth symbol. So everything goes to this as a common earth, or many common earths, I should say. And I have ascertained that to be the green one, and the brown with the white tracer is my power. So that's what I'm going to do. I also have actually, guys, one thing I did for another issue on the bike was this is the rear license plate light, you know, the one that sits just above the license plate, which I incessantly hate because it's a ridiculous thing that makes my motorcycle look silly and it costs far too much money. That was not working, so I have gone on the electronical bay and I bought that for not many pennies at all. But as I knew, the connectors aren't the ones that I want them to be, and fortunately enough, it's probably about 4 inches too short is this. So I've just taken the 4 inches off of the old lead with the connectors that I want, and I'm just gonna make those a whole. It's not terribly exciting. It's about the extent of my electronical work, but hey, it was worthy of recording, isn't it? So yeah, here we go. I have already successfully tried this on the broken tail light thingy. You can actually de-sheath them without an end, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to get in there and make one cut and then move along, make another, and then slice that bit to an opening. Please don't cut it. Lovely. Gotcha. Now, let's get a razor blade. Okay, two little, where are we? Two open portions that I'm just gonna tap on into. All right, red is live, goes to brown. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Heat shrink. I'll have to go heat shrink over the other side. I'll go that way. Yep. That's easy enough. All right. So, live is brown. Nice. All right. Hot stick. Is it hot? Okay. And what? That's all. Didn't leave myself much of a works area here. Literally just as wide as my hot stick is. That looks good. I'll take that. That'll go there. Come on, there you go. That's good enough for me. All right, just got some heat shrink, which I don't have the choice of color, which sucks. Put that plug back in, and I've just, so there's the 12-volt battery charger just there. And that it's pretty much going to be perched almost like there, I'd say. Hopefully I've got enough for distance. If not, I'm going to rework where this goes according to how much lead I have. Stop the press! Stop the press! Yeah, there was bigger issues at play. Yeah, I still back myself in the sense that the battery terminal was loose, and how can that ever be a good thing? But you know, like the diagnostic checks I did on the bike when I got home was after I had charged the battery and it successfully took the charge. I put multimeters on those terminals on that battery, and I started the bike and I witnessed decent enough voltage. Rev the bike, saw the revs increase. So I thought, okay, the rectifier regulator wasn't a problem. It was the battery terminal, and of course I was stressing the battery with that voltage meter. So that's why the whole thing came apart, is to hardwire that voltage meter into a live and an earth. And it wasn't until I finished all of that and I was putting all of the fairings back on, this is what I witnessed. This is the old rectifier regulator that was on the bike. And that's pretty suspect, isn't it? And that's what made me go, hang on, you know, as it was on the bike and I'm putting it all back together, it was like, that's very sus. So I then go up to look at the, obviously I've cut this to get it off because it was, it had fused the union. So that was the plug and it went into, that's the new one. That's new, that's old. That was for my sake, not yours. Obviously, this was the plug that these shitty leads, and you can tell one of them was cooked, absolutely cooked. And the union between the cooked one up here was as good as welding. It was, so I cut that to get it off the bike, and I had to put that on the clamp and grab it with vice grips to break the seedy union of that clip and that clip. So, yes, it was working, rev the bike, the volts increased on the battery, but I don't think it was gonna be working for long. So I have got my spare, which I, as a FireBlade owner, have in the tool bag, and the kit bag was a Rectifier regulator Stator, which I just grabbed off eBay for like $150 or something. And so this is my second $150 Rectifier regulator. And my name's Adrian, and I really respect the OEM parts. This has taught me that. This one lasted a couple of thousand Ks. That's pretty ordinary, and you can just tell it's the unions between, you know, the bits, the ends, you know, that are just so, like, this is living obviously in a bath of oil, you know, and just look at the state of that, you know. Even the good plug up here was showing signs. That green wire, that just, it's just so cruddy. So I'm gonna stick on this eBay how's your father just as band-aid, and I'm gonna source an OEM Stator rectifier regulator. A little bit more expensive, a little bit not as easy to come by. Stand up, son. Chin up. Yeah, not easy to come by, but obviously this is my band-aid, and it'll get me, not that I ride this bike much anyway, but it's going to be in place and ready to go, and an OEM part is going to be sourced. I've learnt my lesson when it comes to these parts.